Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Natalie, and most of the times, if you all know me, I'm like this, right, with a big stupid grin on my face for no good reason, but that's just gratitude for life. So today I want to talk about these surgeries. As a dialysis patient, getting a dialysis access, which is how you're going to be able to get that dialysis, how you're going to be able to filter your blood to get the extra fluid out, to help to regulate your electrolytes, your blood pressure, all of that. Your kidneys do a lot of work, right? So dialysis has to try to compensate or try to can't do all, but some of what the kidneys used to do. So as I told you in one of my previous videos, in 2021, April, this access stopped working. So this was like a tubing and it went straight into my armpit. And of course, then it would use needles, right? And it stopped working, and I ended up going into Port of Spain General Hospital to get a surgery to try to fix it, to see if we could get it to work again. That didn't work, but that ended up in an infection. So I ended up having to go back into surgery to now remove this tubing out of my hand. So all of this is just scarring from, maybe some of it from the needles, some of it from maybe the surgery marks, to take out that tube that was in my hand. Lo and behold, I came out of surgery, and I remember immediately going into panic mode because I came out of surgery and for whatever reason I could not lift my hand at all. Your girls start panic, full panic mode, and they're like, nah, don't worry yourself, you just came out of swelling, and it was a big surgery, and it has a lot of swelling, so give it time. So a couple hours after, I was able to lift the hand, but I noticed that I can't move the fingers. I'd be like, well, I can't move my fingers again, given the same explanation by the doctors, you just finished surgery. By the time, I think after the surgery, I left the hospital maybe like about 2 days after surgery, right? And came home, can't use any of the fingers. I could move them a little, but nothing much. Now, how the system works is they want to wait until the swelling goes down to kind of examine what's going on with the hand. So I think my initial appointment to go back to the hospital was 2 weeks after. Was it 2 weeks? I think it was 2 weeks after. But then I got a letter to go and do, I don't think I'd gotten the letter immediately, but eventually they gave me a letter to go and do what they call a nerve conduction study to see if the nerves are damaged in the hands. I was running up and down. You can ask Auntie Alice and get this. I remember going to some place in St. Clair. I remember going to Medical Associates. I was just all over the place trying to see if I can get some help for this hand. But what happened is, it took a while to get the nerve conduction study, and it took a while for them to give me the letter to get the nerve conduction study. By the time I sorted out all of that and realized that there was severe nerve damage to this hand, to me, the hand was already effed. Forgive my language. And when I say that, is that I honestly believe that if the response time was quicker, that I could have saved more of these fingers. So yes, I can move them, but this, I can't do. It doesn't make a difference how hard I try. I can't get these joints to bend. Naturally, they have a little bend in them, but I can't command it to bend. When I try, these gone so, that gone so. Like when I try to do this, they're moving like a crab, right? And when I just do this, I can't get these two to separate. And you do it fast if you really want to know if somebody is controlling something, right? Because slowly you probably could. But you see what's happening with these two fingers? Even though I can practice and do that, but initially I wasn't even able to do that. I couldn't hold a spoon, I couldn't hold a cup, I couldn't do nothing, and the pain was immeasurable. This hand would keep me up almost every night. I remember I was at work, right? I remember I was still working television. And so the people at TTT, thank you all for being so compassionate where this is concerned, for being so understanding, because I'm telling you, I'd have to beg somebody to make me a cup of tea. I'd have to get the makeup artist to help me to put on my shoes. Sometimes I'd go to work. I can't button anything. I was just completely dysfunctional with this hand because one hand can't clap. As I say, you couldn't touch it. It was so painful. A little breeze couldn't pass on it. It would be so painful. I can't let any material just graze over it. It would be so painful. I can't lift anything. I don't have any strength in it. I can't bend it. And this happened in July, right? June, sorry. This was June? Right, July, August, September. And then I had to go and do this hand in September. Anybody want to guess what happened with this hand? Before we even get to this hand, talk about I finished that surgery. And when I came out, they still left a piece of the tubing in me. Can you see it? Yeah, piece of the graft is still in my hand. And then I went in September to do this hand to try to create another dialysis access, severe nerve damage. And again, the running up and down, having to go and do nerve conduction studies. I did it on both hands again, having to do Doppler ultrasounds. These things are not cheap, you know. Ask anybody how much for a Doppler ultrasound on your hand. And a Doppler ultrasound maps your veins, right? Ask anybody how expensive that is, because last time I checked, I think it was $1,200 per limb, right? And so I had to do both of them. I had to do the nerve conduction studies, which were $2,000 if my memory serves me correctly. And I remember just feeling so hopeless. I was just running up and down trying to get help, because after this hand, when this had happened, I know I had zero independence. Like, I went from being kind of angry to just being stark raving mad, angry, disappointed, not wanting to go into the hospital, not trusting the doctors, not feeling like I can get help there, because I figure if you did this and you realize, okay, you know, dialysis patients, especially when you have lupus, that your veins tend to shrink and they tend to collapse and they tend to move. That, to me, more care should have been taken with this hand. You already had the experience. I can understand this hand, but you had the experience with this hand, and I still end up with the same thing with this hand 3 months after. Like, I felt like these people were trying to destroy my life. Now I know it can't possibly go so, because what purpose would doctors have to want to destroy my life? But that's how I felt, because to me, I just couldn't understand that, having had the experience, that there wasn't, I don't know, maybe they did all that they could so that it wasn't repeated on this hand. But realistically, in my life, is that I got the exact same results. And immediately, that's when I started physiotherapy. That's when I started physiotherapy. And I think because I started physiotherapy so early on this hand, which was before the hand was even better properly, because I started physiotherapy at the end of September on this hand, right? And the surgery was about the 13th of September. This one was June. And it also started physiotherapy at the end of September, 3 months in. But I remember going to medical associates, and I remember people not being very positive, doctors not wanting to tell me that they don't think this will come back. One doctor suggested to me that maybe they cut the nerve completely and it will have to grow back. I think that when I did the first nerve conduction study, that's what that doctor told me, that the nerve will have to grow back because it seems as if it has been severed during surgery. And listen, I can't explain to you what these 2 surgeries did to my life. Forget the scars externally. It was a scarring internally that was going on mentally that almost broke every fiber of my being. That's what almost took me out, you know, in 2021, you know. Believe it or not. And because this failed, and because of this, that's how I ended up with this one that ended up with DVT, with people coming. So it's like, it was like just this cycle, you know, this series of unfortunate events in 2021. And after doing this and not, why, I don't know, and the 2 hands mash up, my whole life mash up, I had to, as I say, I had to hire a helper. Gedisa to be driving me around, and Dialysis had to leave. She whole husband Gedisa move in with me just so that she could make me a cup of tea, help me to bathe, help me to put on my underwear, because people don't understand nerve damage. You see them and you can't understand that, how you can see fingers move, but when you touch something you can't feel it. Even now, I don't have the regular sense of touching this hand, especially. This one, sometimes I have to be, like if I do this, I'll feel my face, but I'll not feel my fingertips. How? Even to this day, I have problems with sensations in my fingers. And I did physiotherapy twice a week for September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. I think it about July, about 10 months, just so that I was able to help myself again in life. Twice a week at Renew Physiotherapy if you ever need. If you ever need any kind of physio, check out Renew Physiotherapy on Rust Street in Port of Spain. Rust Street is off Maraval Road. And my physiotherapist was Christy. She's not who I started with. I'd started with some physiotherapist in behind Medical Associates in Chabonas. Can't remember his name right now. And then I switched to Renew because I was working at TTT, needed something closer and fantastic. I don't know what I would have done without Christy and Stephen. I remember one day Christy literally having to tape my finger like this because he couldn't even do that at that point. And I think I lasted 2 hours with it, but 2 hours of straight crying. Like Geddes telling my finger looked angry, and you're trying to take off the tape and the finger is just coming up by itself without even me compelling it to, because this was such an unnatural position for it at the time. I can't do that with this one. It just looked awkward. This joint refuses to bend. I can't get these joints at all to bend to save my life. So I have no grip on my left hand. And I still have to function. I still have to try to move on with my life. And that's why I am so hesitant to go and look another dialysis access. I mean, to me, unless you've lived an experience, you can't understand how traumatizing it could be and just how emotional it could be, how mentally draining, how I tell you, I came very, very, very close to breaking. If I didn't even, maybe I even broke in 2021. And I keep saying it and I'll say it again, thanks to Hanif Benjamin. Because even I, Natalie Legore, who feel me so strong, needed help. And if you notice how dark right here of my hands look compared to the rest of my hand. Circulation is still not reaching there properly. So they always look extremely dark and my fingers look all broken and bent up all over the place. Welcome to surgery life. I'm sure they probably were bent before, but I don't know. So yeah, that's the reality of these 2 surgeries. And as a dialysis patient, I say take care of whatever access you have. Because you see this guinea pig life? You see this guinea pig life? I told you I had 1 surgery here, I had 2 surgeries here, I had 3 surgeries here, I had 1 surgery here, 1 surgery here, 1 surgery here, 1 attempted surgery here that didn't work, 2 surgeries here, and I even had 1 surgery there already when I had to go to the hospital and they couldn't find any vein to get any blood, so they put a small catheter in here so that they could pull blood. All since I've been on dialysis. 10 years of surgical torture, if you ask me. But it's not an easy life being a dialysis patient. But you still have to take your time and keep moving on, because life never promised me nothing. So you have to just keep trying, right? And as much as I'm telling you that, I didn't feel that way in 2021. But that's why I can tell you that now, because I know that you move past things and you get over things and you find ways to cope with things. And especially if you have a good support system, I always say it works wonders. Get that support system if you can. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you for subscribing. And in my next video, let me see what I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah, I want to talk to you about scar tissues in my next video, because all of these things are related to your dialysis experience, and I hope you never have to go through all of these that I went through. So if you have the knowledge, hopefully you can make more informed decisions. Until the next time, bye.